Hello there, Painting 2 students. Delighted that once again we are entering the realm of the skeleton. And this week Fritz, as you can see, standing here, and of course you don't have a Fritz, or maybe you have bought one, I don't know, but don't waste your money on it, because I have sent you those drawings and you're welcome to use those. You're also welcome to probe around inside the internet and look up different images of skeletons, obviously, and use those. So, you've got your choices. If you're stinking rich, you can buy one of these. I think I paid about $70 for this anatomically correct small skeleton. In the college I've got life-size ones, but tricky to take it home on the subway. So anyway, here we are. This week, the 9th, is where you are going to actually draw the whole skeleton again. Now, the question I want to ask you is, do you have, those students who did my original class should have paint still left over from the HOSTOS art box, and you may have a canvas. If you have a canvas and you want to reuse it, you can paint over whatever was on there and just use white paint and just paint over it until it's back to its original state. If you're a new student and you don't have this, you can get a canvas if you want. They're on Amazon. This size is okay, about 18 inches by 24 inches. And you can use, for this second exercise with the skeleton, we're moving into the paint now and the imagination. So you can use anything you like. You could do the whole thing in pencil, or you could do the whole thing in coloured pencil, or you could do the whole thing in inks, or you could do the whole thing in paint. You could do the whole thing in pastels. These are all different artistic mediums. Mediums just means different ways of making a piece of art. So it's up to you. We're going to experiment with it. You might even use several things all at once. So, to start with this week, we're just going to redraw the whole skeleton. Now, after everything that you've learnt over the last weeks, you should have a greater awareness of what constitutes the skeleton and its shapes. You'll remember the struggle of the rib cage. Now I'm going to do this really quickly. You've got plenty of time to do this and do a better job than your old professor is going to manage in seconds, but this is just to kind of demonstrate to you what's going to be done this week. So we'll get them out there. The spine, and then the lower arms, which you did recently. The hands, I'm just going to do these very kind of loosely because obviously it would take hours for you to watch this, and I'm sure you would get soon asleep. So on the hands, off he goes, make it good. And the pelvis, you'll remember the shape like two butterflies, and the other arm. The twist in the bone, remember, the twist in the bone that makes it stronger than if it was just dead straight. Now I'm doing the skeleton quite loose because this second part of the semester is kind of like painting and creating the skeleton in an environment. It could be a landscape. I've put a landscape, an old painting done by a student, behind the skeleton because I'll probably use it. I'm going to do the skeleton like he's walking around and doing stuff. You might do him walking in the Bronx. How would people react if they saw that? There's the arms and the legs. There we are, and remember those old feet bones. There he is, quickly done. A skeleton. Oh my God, he has such fun. Now you can spend a lot longer on this than I have. And you know, look at any random thing that you can find. It could be a street scene, it could be a night scene, it could be a countryside scene like I have there. Look at any old thing and let's make the skeleton part of that environment. So that's your creative choice. Make of it what you will. Find something that appeals to you. Find something that is an environment that you understand. Maybe he's on the beach trying to get a suntan, you know. So whatever, you know, make it fun. Skeletons, they need fun as well. Okay, so we've got him out there. I'm doing this very loose. You know, you can do a lovely job if you want. Now I'm just going to kind of quickly sketch in that background behind him. There's a tree there. And the reason I'm doing it loose is because I'm going to use, in this instance, I'm going to use paint. Let's have him standing on something. Okay, there he is. So this week, you redraw the whole skeleton using all the classes over the last week's information to create a skeleton that has a deeper understanding of its anatomy. You've done every single bit of the skeleton from the skull to the toes. So you must, by this time, no matter how undeveloped an artist you are, you must have developed slightly. And using that slight development, let's see if we can take the skeleton on a walk. Take him into the countryside, take him into the city, give him some ambience, give him some travelling, something that makes the skeleton come alive. Okay, so that's the purpose of this week. So I've done it as a sketch, and then if you have paint, now you're welcome to use coloured pencils like I say, or paint or pastels. If you have the paint from last year, you will have a range of colours. I'm just going to use black and white for this beginning. And you'll remember to use 2 containers for water. It's acrylic paint, so it's mixed with water. So I've got one here and the other. And I'm just going to take some of the black paint and shape up Fritzy a little bit. Now you see I'm using the smaller brush that you will have. You know, for those students who have never done one of my classes, like I say, you are welcome to get this stuff. If you're not sure what to get, I think I put a sheet of paper in with all of your printed information at the beginning of the semester, which included a location called Blick in Harlem. I think it's beside the Apollo Theatre, so you can't miss it. And it has information about a box of art equipment for $45, and you can get that. You know, that's about the A very cheap way to get all this stuff. And if you're into art, it's a bargain. So I'm going to basically use this to kind of paint up the skeleton in the landscape. Now we're going to spend more than this week on this thing, so you can put more effort into it. It's not a rush job. It's a painting. You could make this, if you remember, we did, students of mine last semester, we did the essay on the artist from Mexico called Frida Kahlo. You could make this into Frida Kahlo's skeleton. You know, you could put things that she liked on it. You know, it's all your choice. I tell you, this must be one of the hardest things to do, is doing a quick skeleton as a demonstration for people. You know. And as you've been painting the skeleton over the last weeks, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm going to have to do these rib cages quickly because they take an inordinate amount of time to do correctly. So I'm just going to do them quite roughly. There we are. And his arms. Now, I don't know what kind of artist you are in your leisure time, but you might be an ink artist and you're welcome to use inks. You can get inks in all sorts of colours, and it can be an effective way. You might be a watercolour artist or a gouache artist, and if you don't know what those terms mean, text me or email me and I will explain. So there's the other arm. Now I'm painting this on a giant piece of paper that I covered in white acrylic, and so that it can be painted on. If you're curious what this is, the surface. And if you don't have any money, you can always get some white paint and paint a piece of wood and work on it. Okay, do the pelvis. Now, as you can see, I'm doing this pretty loose so that you can see this first stage. So at this first stage, I'm just going to paint the skeleton into the landscape. And I'm only using the two colours, black and white. Well, it's too tricky for me to do those feet perfectly. But there it is, in the landscape. It's not too bad. It looks better. It looks better in the camera than it does in reality. So I'm just going to do, using these mixtures, I'm only using these two colours. I'm going to just do some of the background behind him. Fill it in like that. And you know, this is from those who learnt from my first class with the portrait. This is standard underpainting, which you use for everything, every kind of painting you do. And I'm using a bigger brush for it, as you can see. And if you're wanting to do painting, do definitely buy the art box from the Blick art store. And if you didn't get that sheet of paper, if by some strange twist I forgot to put it into your large envelope, please email me or text me and I will send you that information immediately. So I'm going to do his feet on the ground. Right now he's kind of floating. So I'm just kind of like sketching in where those bushes are going to go behind this skeleton. He's out walking. And to get the bushes there, bum bum bum, those are bushes. Hey! Now there's a problem with an easel. Oh boy. I've got two things on here and it's too heavy. That's it. Now that's good, because if any of you are wanting to buy an easel, I can give you recommendations for ones that are quite cheap. You know, you can pick them up. Some of them are as cheap as $20. So there it is. It's on the artist's easel. And he has survived the fall. So I'm going to just take another brush and put in those tree things that are behind him. I don't know about you, but I like to have something to look at when I'm painting. There are artists who can just do it from their own head, like it flows out of them without them, you know, like they've got a picture inside their minds. I'm not one of those. I need to kind of look at a tree or see something in order to get it. So I'm using this one here, and as I'm doing this, just as a quick demonstration, I'm making it much looser than what is in the painting. So these are the leaves on that tree behind the skelly. And that stuff will be done later in colour and it will become better. I'll tell you, at the beginning of a painting, it's always depressing because it always starts off looking like a hell of a mess. And then the more you work on it, the happier you get. And it becomes something, you know, that makes you feel better about yourself. So that's the nice thing about painting. It pushes you through different experiences and different emotions and different stuff. So it's very, you know, it's very alive. It's not like photography. It is capturing something from inside your soul. Right. So, and behind him there will go clouds. Just set these here. So I'm just going to kind of waffle those in just now. Predominantly white. I'm just going to put a grey shape behind this. Now this is the underpainting. Like I say, and like you should understand by now, this is just kind of starting it off. When this dries, and the great thing about acrylic is it dries quickly, we're going to do the next bit of the painting, which is the colours on this. So I'm just breaking up the canvas, you know, because there's something quite oppressive about looking at a white surface and, you know, all that emptiness. So once you break it up, you're kind of moving into something that is less intimidating. that's taken. 10 or so minutes. So it's skeleton in a landscape, the start. Now that's all you're going to do this week. I kind of lost his feet there, but I'll reclaim those later. So it's just in black and white, or whatever you're going to use, you can use it. If you're just wanting to do a very elaborate drawing, you're welcome. But if you have paint and canvas and such like, and you want to get the stuff, if you haven't got it yet, it's in the Blick art store. Hopefully there's still some left, but I'll send you the details if you request it. And try and do a kind of study of the skeleton and put him in some environment. Whatever style you want, you know, pencil, acrylic, watercolor, gouache, pastels, you know, use your imagination. Let things evolve. So that's this week's experiment. Skeleton in a landscape, a study. Okay, so send in the details by the midnight on the Sunday. Let me see what you've planned, even if it's just the beginning of a plan. And then we'll take it from there and start making it into a finished art piece. So that's it this week. The start of the experiment, skeleton in a landscape. Bye for now.